connect with some people, find a recruitment agent, get some people, rent an office. But in the process of doing the doing, oh cuck, heat pressure is coming. Because you're going to find the wrong person, then they're not going to work out, then you're going to have to find someone else, then you're going to have made commitments, and then I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to honor those commitments when I didn't expect to honor those commitments. Now I'm going to put them on top of the calendar that I already have. Well, I have a choice. I can quit, get out, or I can push through, and pushing through this stuff. When I push through it, that's what grows me. That's what most people don't want to do, Joey. Most people talk mindset. When I talk in seminars, when Nicole and I speak in seminars, one of the things, when we ask that question, what do you need to do to change? What's the first thing that comes up? Change my mindset. But I'll ask you guys in this room, how many of you are actively day in and day out working on your mindset? See, most people don't go to a course if they don't get a certificate. People say to me, in your 2-day sales explosion, what are you going to learn? I say, I'm going to change your mindset. Do I get a certificate? No.
You also don't get a certificate when you leave church every Sunday.
Very good.
But you can walk away with some deep stuff from there.
Yes, as long as you do what with the journey.
As long as you implement it and learn from it, you're working.
Say that word again.
As long as you
implement it. You see, most people get informed, get a nice fuzzy feeling about, oh, do you know what I learned? And yeah, if you do this, you can do that. And then what happens? They go back to doing what they do because that's the comfortable part of doing it. But you step out of church, and I don't know, your minister said, how often do you have quiet time? And you're sitting there going, what's quiet time? When I'm in the bath, that's quiet time. And he says, well, if you want to grow your spiritual being, you should get up and spend 15 minutes every morning with God. And you haven't spent 15 minutes every morning with God in the last 15 years. And you walk out of church going, right on, from tomorrow, that's it, I'm getting out.
And you don't. And then you subconsciously think of yourself as a loser.
Well, so there's many things you can do, or you just wipe it off. But the reality is you have the information. You made the decision you're going to do it because what you want is you want to have quiet time with God every morning because you want to grow your spirit. Because in that moment, it was like something connected with you, and you're like, yes. But then you've got to do it the next morning to get up at 4:30, and you only normally get up at 6 o'clock. You know, I'm really tired, and it's going to affect my day, and the little voice comes up, and this comes up, and that comes up, and you end up selling yourself. Why? Because the emotional heat and pressure is too much, and a week later you still haven't done it, and 3 months later you still haven't done it. And can that be taken to anything in life? I'm going to train, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to run, I'm going to make more sales, I'm going to phone more clients. There's no excuse for not knowing what to do. How many of you agree we have more information in the world than we've ever had? There's no excuse. You want to build a bomb, build a bomb. It's there.
It's on YouTube.
There is no excuse. The excuse that you will have is that you learned from the wrong person on YouTube. Okay, because there's so much information, you need to be a little bit more discerning on who you're going to follow and listen to. Okay, because information in today's world is free to put out there. So, when you find someone and it's reputable, you go out and do it. It took me all of 5 minutes to go on Facebook and find a triathlon coach who teaches people how to do Ironman. I Googled her. She's a SA duathlon champion. She's trained many triathletes, and I'm like, okay, I'll hire her. I sent her a message. She came back. She WhatsApped me. She said, this is how much I charge. I said, I have 16 weeks to go. I'll pay you for 3 months in advance. Get me started. It wasn't hard. That was easy. And then she sent me a program, and I read the program. That's not hard. I understand the program. Get your ass in the gym, get your ass on the road, get some running shoes, swim 3 times a week, ride 3 times a week, run 3 times a week. Very what? Very simple. then I go to do it, and I have a 2-day program followed by a trip to Durban, where I can fly early in the morning. Then I have clients, and I have another 2-day program, and my flight's at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I finish at 6 o'clock in the evening, and I still have to do a 10K run. And now I'm like, okay, this is not as friggin' easy, still simple. I just have to put running shoes on, get my ass on the road, and go. But what happens? He took pressure. Now I'm forced to make a decision. Are you going to honor your agreement or not honor your agreement? Well, you know, if I run, then I might be tired for my event tomorrow. Well, what did you promise yourself? I was going to run. Well, so reality is now I put myself in chaos, because now where am I going? I'm either going to go down into emergency just for today and not do it. And if I don't do it today, there's a chance I might not do it tomorrow. And if I don't do it tomorrow, there's a chance I might not do it for the whole week. And eventually what happens is, I know you say to me, are you doing the half Ironman? I go, well, you know, I got too busy. Fuck. It's not about getting too busy. I had the inability to hold myself in the space to do what was needed to be done. Busyness is my excuse. Because I could have got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and run. Yes? So I lack the ability to hold the space and direct the flow of force to get my ass on the road. Now I understand that's what I do. I put my friggin' running shoes on and I run. It may not be the best run I have, but guess what? I come back, I've done my 10Ks, it's done, I tick it off on the program. And I do it again. Because what I do know is that while I may have one bad run, I'll have 5 good runs. Why? Because as the more I do it, the better it becomes. You don't say anything in that. Is that making sense, Jody? And that comes down to this, because that's where we put ourselves in the fire.
I think, Barry, what's coming to me now is that I think that, you know, before we business owners or any titles, we obviously, there's the personal aspect of us being, our individuality. And obviously, if our character is not at a certain level to be able to perform at the level that's required, I feel like there's a personal aspect that could be also related to pain. And how do we, I mean, this may not be the right flow to ask this question, but, and maybe you may have come across this or not, but do you feel that there's a strong aspect of our pain that can affect our mindset when it comes to achieving or having, you know, getting to, being able to condition ourselves accordingly?
Yes. So I'll ask Nicole to answer that particular piece. But I want to put in your place is that if you do not have the character and the capability to have what you think you want to have at the moment, then maybe you should think of having something less until you can get to what you want to have. And that's what most people don't want to do. We operate within the capacity that we can have until we grow our capacity to have what we want. So people say, I'm going to have a 100 million rand business in the next 6 months, but you haven't built a 1,000 rand business. You're kidding yourself. For most people, unless you've been there before, you're kidding yourself. So learn to build a 10,000 rand business. Learn to build the capacity, give yourself the character and the discipline to get to 10,000, then do 20,000, then do 50. Does that make sense? You'll get to the 100,000, the 100 million in the time span that you can get there. Now, in relation to pain, do you have to get through some pain? My very simple answer, damn right.
So I'll use this example that has recently happened. My daughter went to SPCA and she came home with a 5-month-old puppy.
Now what actually happened is Mum took Michaela to the SPCA because they saw a dog and they came home with a 5-month-old puppy. Let's just set the record straight. Nothing like.
We came home with this 5-month-old puppy, and it is very clear that this puppy has been abused. Okay? His skin is burnt and he doesn't have fur on him, and you can see that this dog has been abused. Okay? comes to our place, he's been there a week, he's had lots of love, lots of attention, lots of food, everything's fine. And our domestic walks through the door and this dog goes nuts. Okay? And I say that because in terms of our dogs are loved just as much by her. Like, we have a pit bull that runs to the front door every single morning to go and greet her because
When someone get it aroused, the favorite person in the house for our pit bull Bella is, so we'll get it.
okay. So immediately you can see the conditioning of this little puppy. You can see it.
Well, Simon Ginnett brought it up to you, didn't she?
So after a week of she's now trying to feed him and stroke him and what have you, by Friday, she's been there a week, no problem, and the puppy's fine around her. We have a weekend. Okay? And Monday, Sipongile arrives back at work, and this puppy went nuts again and wouldn't go near her. She went to pick him up to put him outside and weed and poo all over the place because he is sitting in so much fear because of his conditioning. Okay. Every single person in this room has experienced that in some way, shape or form. Because our conditioning dictates how we think, what our attitude is, what our behaviors are, and therefore our results. You can take it to the gym. If you've had a coach that's been sort of, my daughter was saying she joined a running club and she started running and the coach started giving her some tips as to how to get better. And she said, Mom, I burst into tears. Why? Because it reminded her of when she was at school and the coach at school gave her a really hard time and all the other kids laughed at her. And she's now 21, an adult, and she's being triggered with conditioning of if I change something in running, everyone's going to laugh at me. It's painful.
So she's over here.
Correct.
Does that make sense? She finds herself now in chaos. The little puppy finds himself in chaos and emergency. Now, with the puppy, we have a choice. We can move the puppy somewhere else, and he'll be in non-existence. Or we can move him through chaos and emergency, and it'll become normal, and him and Sid will get in the next 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 5 months, whatever it takes, we become best of friends. Does that make sense? Because he will start. It's the same with Danielle. Danielle now has to make a decision. She can make a decision. That's it, I'm quitting running. Because it's too painful. Or she can connect with it. Connect with what triggers the
conditioning and go, oh, that's what happened. Now I need to change my mindset and my attitude towards this coach, because this coach means well. I'm going to change my behavior. I'm going to get a different result because I'm following a system.
So now she can systemize. Because she can systemize, she can now go, okay, I know I can connect with why I get triggered like that. I can connect with the emotion and the feeling. It's not connected to my previous coach. So she will have to do some work on it.
And that's where emotion,
you have to work on it.
She has to work on her emotions from previously, because last time I got laughed at. This is embarrassing. This is scary. What if I fail?
So the more she works on it, and how does Danielle work on it? She works with one of Nicole's colleagues. That's what Nicole does. Nicole's the processor. She helps us connect with those things so that we can reframe them in our mind, so that we deal with them, so that we can move on. And then what she's going to need to do is she's going to need to put systems in place, processes in place, and start following those systems and processes, because those systems and processes give you confidence. I had the same thing. I started with this triathlon coach. She sent me a message, you're training too much. I sent her a message, I said, I can never train too much. That doesn't exist in my world. She said, you haven't had a rest day in a week. I sent her a message, I said, oh, I never told you, I don't do rest days. She said, if I coach you, you do rest days. I said, I don't do rest days. I said, you need to understand. You need to understand that when I do seminars, the one thing I do every morning before a seminar is I exercise because it clears my mind and gives me energy. She said, you need to understand that if you're going to do the level of training that I'm going to get you to do, you need to do a rest day. Why was I so against it? Because one of my previous coaches, the way that he confronted me about rest day was very unpleasant, wasn't it?
Correct.
So it triggered me back there, and I was like, stop that. I'm going to go through the same unpleasantness that the last asshole took me through. Does that make sense? That's what was triggered. She's a totally different coach. So I had to step back and say, whoa, Nicole asked me some questions. I was like, yeah, I know you're right. Because I know that, I know that you need to do rest days. I know, I've got that. But my psychology, my psychosis, my mindset was like, stuff that. I'm going to prove you I don't need to do, because that's what I did with him. I was like, I'll show you I don't need friggin' rest days. So once I stepped back and I went, okay, because that created chaos for me in that moment. Does it make sense? I said, okay, I'm going to commit, I'll do a rest day. But guess what? I don't tell her. I promise. So I don't want, she can't know she's right. And I don't mean my coach, I mean Nicole. And I got to the stage where yesterday and the day before I had 2 rest days in a row.
That's probably because your body told you to rest, not because you wanted to.
Jody, you have to understand, whether my body told me in the past to rest or not was irrelevant. You get that? Okay, logically, yes, I can feel my body, it's tired, stuff that, put your running shoes on, run, because that's what you're committed to. Well, now I got to the stage, now guess what? It's becoming normal now. I actually look forward to the rest day. I said to someone the other day, I said, I'm actually looking forward to Tuesday, because I can rest. I have 2 days of friggin' focused, hard training. But then I can rest.
And it's good rest, it's not bad rest.
But the reality is, I'm now moving, it's now becoming normal. Does that make sense? So to go back to your question, as Nicole says, the hard piece is here, isn't it? So,
Correct. Because this is where all of the emotion is.
Yeah, I think once you recondition, it's a game changer, because then your worth, you start to prove your worth to yourself.
well, does it ever stop? Okay, this is the deal. Reconditioning is not a, hey, rocked up, went to Nicole once, woohoo! Okay, it is a constant working on yourself. Never, ever stops. Most people don't start. Okay, working on yourself is not a certificate. Working on yourself is not an MBA. Does that make sense? Okay, working on yourself is understanding who you are, what puts you in chaos, what puts you in emergency, what pulls you out of the game. And when you understand that, you start working on yourself consistently, you become, you have to acknowledge it. First thing is you have to acknowledge it. Then you become more aware. The higher your level of awareness, the higher you manage yourself. So it's totally relevant to this, because that's why people don't perform, yeah?
Correct.
And also overcoming those weaknesses and shortcomings and keep on, because I think most of us here have the ability, but in my life, I found in the past that I've always fallen back. I've always fallen short, and it's always been self-sabotage.
Yeah, anyone find the same thing?
Self-sabotage.
Anyone find that you are your biggest enemy?
Yeah. That's the harder pain. That's the hardest pain to have to break through.
Jody, when you can own it and be honest about it, that's how you grow.
Yeah.
Most people are not honest about it. They're blaming everybody else. What's our problem in our country? For many people, we're not actually taking control of our own lives. However, our past for many people is very painful. I get it. But that's what holds us there, because it's moving through that. That's the hard part. I lost the franchise.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Can